Hey, it's Ty and welcome to another video. I know that usually I make vlogs, but this week I haven't really gotten a good chance to record. It's been quite a busy and rushed about week. However, I still want to get out a video for this week, and so I'm going to be doing something which I have been meaning to do for a while, and I'm going to be filing some of my things, hence why we are next to my school cabinet, which are these. I thought that while I organize, I would chat with you guys and just talk a little bit and just discuss some things. So basically with me, I have both my biology and my physics files, because those are two files where I have quite a lot of papers that I want to file. I also have some pocket folders just so I can put in some stapled files into those, and I'm gonna get to work and we can chat a little bit. So let's get into it. This is my biology file, and basically it's very large because last year I decided to use a small ink file, and in the span of 1 year I filled up the whole thing. If it doesn't get full by the end of the year, which you never know at this point because all I have in here is like the first topic so far, then the situation will probably be that I'll move the files I have from my previous year into here as well, and maybe I'll be able to fit my whole 3-year course into this file. But at this point we get so many papers at school that I doubt that I'll even be able to do that. But for now I'm just gonna focus on this year's files and I'm gonna get filing. So yeah, basically to talk about the busyness of this week, I have been like really tired. It was quite a rough week if I'm being honest, because I really have not been sleeping enough, because basically I have been watching Gilmore Girls every single night with my mom. I love to do it so much. It's something so fun. However, the problem with that is that we end up finishing really late, and I have a problem where I get ready for bed really slowly, and so with that I have been ending up going to sleep at around probably I would say 11 or 10:45 every single night, which my bedtime is supposed to be at 10, which you can probably see that there is quite a gap between those two. Obviously it could be worse, but also it could be much better. So yeah, I'm definitely the type of person who needs my 8 hours of sleep in order to function well and comfortably. And since I haven't been getting that, it's been quite rough. For example, I have never almost slept in class, but when I tell you this scholastic year, it happened to me a few times. I haven't actually slept, but I have definitely felt my eyelids trying their best to stay open. So yeah, that's been quite annoying. For example, yesterday, because I'm filming this on a Saturday, I'll try to get it out by tonight. So maybe when this is posted it will be a Saturday as well. But as I was saying, on Friday, which was yesterday, I had maths as my second period. And when I tell you, I was so exhausted during that lesson that I almost slept during maths, which would have been definitely very bad because my sir is already not very tolerant to things like forgetting homework even, which you can see how much worse it would be if I slept during his lesson. And also yesterday we had a maths test, but thank goodness it wasn't during that lesson, because then in the 7th lesson we had maths again and he decided to give it to us in that lesson. Usually you would think that it would be worse that we're getting our test as our 7th out of 8 lessons on a Friday afternoon, but to be honest, thank goodness it was on that 7th lesson and not in the 2nd lesson, because I was so tired that morning. So thank goodness for that. Speaking of that maths test, actually the people in my class weren't very confident about it actually. However, I felt pretty confident even though I didn't really study that much, because I got to study on like Tuesday and Wednesday a bit. Wednesday it didn't really go that well, but at least I did get something done. And yeah, basically I only got to review part of the first topic out of 4 that came out in the test, and we also looked through them, like me and my friends at school. But like we only really skimmed everything, so I didn't really get to study it that well. But I'm pretty confident in the topics that we did, in the sense that our maths tests are open book. Like they aren't easy because our teacher definitely gives us quite the time crunch on purpose to prepare us for exams, which I would rather not have that time crunch, but there's nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. So with that situation, it still isn't easy, even though it's open book, but that definitely in a way still is helpful. So yeah, hopefully I go good. It probably will be a while until I get my marks because my maths teacher takes quite a while to correct, to say the least. But when I do, I hope it's a good mark, because basically we're going to get 4 marks, 1 for each topic in that test. And the problem is that since there's so many topics in the same test, if you make a mistake, there isn't really much questions per topic, so that's going to lower your grade for that specific topic by quite a lot. So hopefully I didn't really make that many mistakes, because I didn't get the time to check my paper because of that time crunch that I mentioned. But yeah, apart from that, I've just basically been really tired this week, and so I will be trying to fix that. As of when I'm filming this, it's the 31st of January, which means that we are about to enter a new month. And if you go back to one of my videos, which I will put up on the screen here, I wanted to set a few goals for the beginning of the year to be healthier and to improve this year, since it's quite early on in the year. And as for an update of how that's going, my 3 goals were to get everything done on my to-do list for school, to drink 2 liters of water a day, and to go to sleep on time. As for schoolwork, I feel like I haven't really been doing too bad. When I make a to-do list, my procrastinating hasn't been the worst. It could be better for sure, but it could definitely be much worse. I accidentally put this topic in the wrong divider, so I have to take this out and put it back in. But yeah, as I was saying, as for the studying, it's going quite well, even though I do probably need to get a bit more done and increase my rate by just a bit, because of the fact that in 4 months I'll have my exams, and that might sound like a lot, but basically it's a whole entire nightmare, because I have 13 exams in the span of 1 month at the end of my year, and those are my only exams, and they have a very large weight of my grade, so I have to make sure that I go good in those. But still, I am quite happy with the amount of work I've been getting done in school. However, as for the situation with the water in the bedtime, as I have already touched on before, the bedtime thing has been going really badly, so I'm hoping to fix that this month. I think that's my main goal for this month. But also I would like to try drinking more water, because I've been drinking probably closer to 500 milliliters than 2 liters. So I'm definitely very far away from my goal. I managed to maintain that for a while, but the fact that I'm in school makes it even more annoying. I find it like harder to drink enough water when I am in school, but hopefully I will be able to maintain that this following month. Which also I am planning on making a little video where I look over my month of like January and just like discussing things like this. So I'll probably touch more about this topic in that, which is probably going to be one of my shorts. Which, speaking of YouTube, something I've been intending to do is posting on my second channel. If you don't know, I have a writing channel which I have barely posted on, even though I've had it for quite a while as well. I've been much less consistent because I actually need to get writing work done in order to be able to post on that. As you may presume from what I am saying, I have not really been getting writing work done, so I do want to be able to invest more in hobbies such as writing. So hopefully I will get the time to do that. However, I've been really busy, which makes it really hard to do that, because I also have training twice a week apart from school, which takes up 3 hours of my week, plus getting ready to go there and the drive back and forth, things like that. It makes it even more than 3 hours. On days that I have practice, I usually don't even end up really studying or doing any homework unless I have homework for the next day and I have to do it before training, which by the way makes me go to sleep even more late. But yeah, recently I've been finding it difficult to balance my time doing my schoolwork plus also balancing training. Okay, that is it for my biology filing. I have the topics and I had like 3 topics which were still sitting in my folder which I didn't need, so now they're in my box file. Which, my goodness, is my handwriting bad in this file. I feel like my handwriting was really bad last year, which as the year went on I think it got better, but I think my handwriting will be better now. Usually for physics I wouldn't really have much to file because all I have is like worksheets and things that we do for our grade. However, this year something that I've been doing is that I've been writing handwritten notes for physics during the lessons, even though we do have printed notes, which I am studying off the printed notes, but it helps me focus more during the lesson when I'm actually writing notes about what we're learning. So I need to file a lot of those so my folder doesn't end up breaking and becoming really, really bad, which it isn't doing the best, as you can probably see. But I've had this file since the beginning of last year. I've used it for physics for last year as well, and I'm using it again. So it could definitely be much worse than it is. Like for example, my math file. Oh my god, I went through like 4 math files last year, and this year I'm already on my 2nd one, which I ended up going to school with like a ripped file for like way too long. I need some dividers for my physics. Okay, here, found some. But yeah, speaking of what I was saying earlier, I've actually realized throughout many years now of studying, okay, maybe I'm making it sound a bit dramatic, but this is going to be my 6th year of doing exams. So I have definitely had the time to get used to what works for me and what doesn't, and things that I have realized that have worked for me is number 1, as for actually digesting and processing information, learning it, things like that. I am definitely not just like a passive listener. I just listen, sit there, half focus, half not, and just kind of doing nothing. I definitely much prefer to be active during the lesson. So for example, I'll ask a lot of questions even if I know that they're not for my exam or anything. If I'm curious about something, or especially if I don't understand something completely, I am not afraid to ask, which yes, sounds a bit cheesy, but thank goodness that I don't, because now I don't really have much problems, like especially in sciences where I ask lots of questions. There isn't really ever anything where I don't understand a concept, because whenever that has happened to me, I have reached out to my teachers and asked them right then and there before things advanced on the thing that I didn't understand, and I just ended up getting lost for the rest of the year. Then as for actually studying at home, like for example, if I'm revising something which I've already learned in class for a test, I'm definitely set for now on flashcards. My methods of studying have changed a lot through the years. For example, last year I used to make flashcards on sticky notes, but they were way too broad and they took a very long time to make, and I decided to do that on Anki. Which, speaking of how that is going for now, one of my main concerns during summer is that I wouldn't have the time to make my flashcards during the year, since I also have things like homework and things to study for urgently where I don't have the time to make the flashcards before I do the thing. Because basically, if you haven't watched my summer videos, which were actually my first videos on this channel since I started in summer, what happened was that I pre-made my flashcards for biology, and I managed to finish that all before the school year started. However, I did not have the time to do physics and chemistry, which I also want to do flashcards on. Okay, here are my topic 1 physics handwritten notes. And so I realized that I would have to make them throughout the year. The good thing is that I feel like I'm actually moving quicker than I thought I would, because it would take me a few days to complete a topic for biology in the summer, and actually I can still complete a topic in a few days of working on it for chemistry or physics as well. So that's really good. That isn't to say that I haven't fallen behind. For example, for chemistry, I definitely need to work on some electrolysis flashcards, which I believe I have already started them, and I had finished up to the point where we had made it. But since then, we have done more on electrolysis, and so I have more to actually make flashcards on. And as for physics, for the first topic, I haven't made any flashcards yet, but I completed the ones from the second topic, and today I did some work and completed more than a quarter of the third topic, which isn't too long. There's about 10 pages of actual notes because then the other pages are just exercises. Okay, I have to hurry up because then I'm gonna jump on a call with my friend. But yeah, the flashcards thing has been going pretty well, even though I haven't had the time to actually make all of them. I will have the time to prepare them for my exams, which is what I was most worried for during the summer. Prom in just over a month, which is very exciting. I am in my second to last year, so next year will be my last year. As for what's coming up soon, I actually have planned to go. I actually am going to have prom of secondary school. And as for us, and obviously the last year, we are all invited to go to prom, and I'm bringing my friend with me, and it will be fun. I still haven't decided on a dress yet, but I am currently in the process of looking, so hopefully I will get a good dress for that. Now on to filing optics. So yeah, that's gonna be really exciting. It's actually my second prom because my middle school also hosted a prom, but it's the first time that I'm actually gonna be doing a thing where I buy the dress and that. So, and like buy like an actual like elegant long dress that's like actually prom that like actually looks like it's made for prom, because my other one was like this like this shorter dress, and I definitely want to go for something different. Also this month I have another volleyball game because I am registered in the league, and about once a month we have a volleyball game, which I've been training my overhead service, and it's actually gotten pretty good, and I'm trying my best to be confident enough in it that by next game I can actually serve overhead during the game. That would be really nice if I could be able to do that, because I've been wanting to actually get a good overhead service for a while, and my struggle was the one-handed toss, but I have gotten quite used to that now because there was this one session where it went really well, and ever since then I have kind of been able to do it. So that's really exciting. However, I'm not 100% sure that I'll be able to overhead serve by the time that I make it to the game, but I am definitely trying my best. I haven't practiced underhand, and in fact, because I'm just trying to focus on the overhead and just prepare for when the game comes so that I can hopefully try that. It is one of the skills that I want to learn and actually good at. So hopefully that goes well. Alrighty, well yeah, I have also finished filing my physics things. This has both last year's and this year's things, and as you can see, it's getting quite packed here, so I'll probably have to buy a bigger file for this. But that also means that I am finished with my filing, so I am going to go and hop on that call with my friend. So thank you so much for watching this video. Sorry that it might be quite long-winded. I didn't expect to have so much to say, but I really had fun talking to you guys, and I hope you enjoyed listening. Okay, I'll see you next week when I have another video posted. God bless you all, and you got this.